In the unforgiving social landscape of a 2005 high school campus, two young men stand on opposite ends of the popularity spectrum, destined to collide. Schmidt, a brace-faced outcast with bleached hair and an ill-advised Eminem persona, attempts to ask a girl to prom, only to be brutally rejected in front of the entire student body. Standing nearby is Jenko, a long-haired, Letterman jacket-wearing jock who mocks Schmidt's failure with cruel delight. 7 years later, the tables have turned, but only slightly. Both men have entered the police academy, where their previous high school roles are reversed. Jenko, physically dominant but academically challenged, struggles to pass his written exams, while Schmidt, intellectually capable but physically wheezing, cannot clear the obstacle course. Recognizing that they are each missing what the other possesses, they form an unlikely alliance. Schmidt tutors Jenko, and Jenko trains Schmidt. They drag each other through the academy, graduating as partners and, surprisingly, best friends. Their dreams of high-octane police work, however, are quickly dashed. Instead of chasing kingpins, they are assigned to park patrol, riding bicycles and telling kids to stop loitering. Desperate for action, they spot a group of motorcycle-riding gangbangers, specifically a crew known as the One Percenters, conducting a drug deal in a local park. Sensing an opportunity to prove themselves, Schmidt and Jenko intervene. The confrontation is clumsy and chaotic, but they manage to apprehend the suspect, Domingo. However, in the heat of the moment and flush with adrenaline, Jenko forgets to read the suspect his Miranda rights. Because of this procedural failure, the entire arrest is voided. Their superiors are furious. Deputy Chief Hardy berates them for their incompetence but notes their youthful appearances. Rather than firing them, he reassigns them to a revived undercover program from the 80s located at 21 Jump Street. The pair arrives at an abandoned Korean church, the headquarters of the Jump Street unit. They are introduced to Captain Dix, an aggressive, no-nonsense commander who explains their mission. A dangerous new synthetic drug called HFS, holy fucking shit, has infiltrated Valley High School, resulting in the death of a student named Billiam Williams. Because Schmidt and Jenko look young enough to pass for teenagers, they are to infiltrate the school, identify the supplier, and shut down the operation. They are given new identities. They will be brothers Doug and Brad McQuaid, living with Schmidt's parents to maintain their cover. The captain warns them strictly: do not get expelled, do not have sexual relations with students or teachers, and above all, do not get emotionally involved. Upon arriving at Valley High, the pair discovers that the social hierarchy has shifted dramatically since 2005. Being an eco-friendly, tolerant, and sensitive individual is now cool, while bullying and macho posturing are frowned upon. Jenko, expecting to rule the school with his fists and sports car, finds himself ostracized for punching a student and driving a gas guzzler. To make matters worse, they mix up their cover identities during the intake meeting with Principal Whiteman. Jenko, the jock, is accidentally placed in advanced placement chemistry classes under the name Doug, while Schmidt, the scientific genius, is placed in the easy drama and art classes under the name Brad. Schmidt also finds himself drawn to Molly Tracy, the lead in the school play and a close friend of the deceased student, Billiam. They attempt to integrate into their respective cliques. Jenko is forced to hang out with the nerds of the Science Rodeo Club, led by a student named Delroy, where he surprisingly discovers a latent talent for chemistry, particularly when it involves blowing things up. Schmidt infiltrates the popular crowd, befriending the school's dealer, a cool and charismatic student named Calvin, and his crew, Shay, Salvador, Boris, and Pick. Calvin, suspicious of their intentions, forces them to take the drug right then and there to prove they aren't narcotics officers. They consume the wafer-like drug and proceed to experience the 4 phases of the high: giggling, tripping, overconfidence, and finally, passing out. During the tripping phase, Schmidt and Jenko experience wild hallucinations, including Schmidt visualizing his teacher as a giant talking ice cream cone. He excels in drama class, delivering a powerful rendition of Shylock's monologue from ** Merchant of Venice, that earns him the admiration of his classmates and Molly. The incident, while terrifying, cements their status within the dealer's circle. The investigation leads them to suspect that the drug is being manufactured locally. Pressure mounts as Captain Dix demands results. He informs them that the drug is spreading to other schools and that another shipment is imminent. Schmidt, relishing the popularity he never had as a teenager, begins to take his role too seriously. Schmidt and Jenko attend a massive house party to gather intel. At the party, Schmidt becomes the center of attention, further inflating his ego. The tension boils over, leading to a physical altercation between the partners that nearly blows their cover. though the students just interpret it as a fight between brothers. The party spins out of control. Teenagers trash the house, stealing Captain Dick's belongings. The party is busted, and Captain Dix returns to find his home in ruins. Following the botched freeway operation and their fight at the party, the rift between Schmidt and Jenko widens. Jenko, meanwhile, bonds with the nerds, helping them with their experiments and actually enjoying the intellectual stimulation. Schmidt infiltrates the popular crowd, befriending the school's dealer, a cool and charismatic student named Calvin, and his crew, Shay, Salvador, Boris, and Pick. Schmidt is falling in love with Molly, violating the rule about emotional involvement. Schmidt and Jenko attend a massive house party to gather intel. At the party, Schmidt becomes the center of attention, further inflating his ego. Schmidt is falling in love with Molly, violating the rule about emotional involvement. Pressure mounts as Captain Dix demands results. He informs them that the drug is spreading to other schools and that another shipment is imminent. They learn that a major exchange is going to happen, involving a large sum of money. The operation goes sideways when they are ambushed by a rival gang from East LA, led by a dealer named Jesus Cristo. A high-speed chase ensues on the freeway, involving Grady's lime green muscle car, a semi-truck, and a minivan. During the chaos, Schmidt and Jenko have a massive blowout fight in the living room, destroying the captain's prized possessions. The fight ends with Jenko tackling Schmidt through a plate glass window just as a drive-by shooter targets the house. Furious, he expels them from the Jump Street program and fires them from the police force. Devastated and stripped of their badges, the two men pack their things. They reconcile, admitting their faults, Schmidt's arrogance and Jenko's fear of inadequacy. They suit up in matching powder blue tuxedos and arm themselves with a ludicrous amount of weaponry, preparing to crash the prom. Arriving at Valley High, they lock the doors with chains to prevent the supplier from escaping. Meanwhile, Schmidt finds the dealers, Calvin and the gang, but is shocked to discover the true identity of the supplier. It is Walt, the mild-mannered man who ran the Drugs Are Dangerous (DAD) table in the hallway. Walt reveals that he is the mastermind, using his position as a DAD advocate to market the drugs directly to the students while maintaining a perfect cover. He captures Schmidt and Molly, holding them at gunpoint in the principal's office. It is revealed that Principal Whiteman is also in on the scheme, laundering the money. A tense standoff ensues in the office. Just as Whiteman is about to execute Schmidt, Jenko bursts in. In the confusion, Schmidt manages to use a hidden sawed-off shotgun, concealed inside a Dora the Explorer piñata he had been carrying as a prop, to blast Whiteman. Walt escapes, taking Molly as a hostage. The chase moves to the auditorium, where the prom is in full swing. Walt drags Molly onto the catwalks above the stage. Schmidt and Jenko pursue him, fighting through the confused students. Jenko encounters the gym teacher, Dean Stanton, who tries to stop him, but Jenko knocks him out with a single punch, finally utilizing his combat training effectively. On the catwalk, Schmidt confronts Walt. Walt mocks Schmidt, playing on his insecurities about being an uncool nerd. He threatens to kill Molly. Schmidt, finally shedding his desire for approval, executes a daring maneuver. He dives at Walt, and they grapple over the gun. Below them, the students watch in horror as the two men fight. Schmidt manages to shoot Walt in the kneecap, crippling him. As Walt writhes in pain, he attempts to pull a backup weapon, but Jenko arrives and shoots the gun out of his hand. The two partners stand over the defeated drug lord. Walt tries to bargain, claiming he can give them up to bigger fish, but Schmidt delivers a final, triumphant one-liner: "Drugs are dangerous, bitch." With the threat neutralized, the students applaud, thinking it is part of an elaborate performance, until the reality sets in. Molly, realizing Schmidt is a cop, is initially furious at the deception but ultimately grateful for being saved. She punches him in the arm but smiles, leaving the door open for the future. The rest of the drug ring is rounded up by the authorities who arrive on the scene. In the aftermath, Schmidt and Jenko are reinstated by Deputy Chief Hardy, who is impressed by their results. Despite the destruction of property, Captain Dix, though still angry about his house, begrudgingly admits they did good work. He assigns them to a new undercover mission, infiltrating a college to break up a frat house drug ring. The movie ends with the two partners, confident and united, riding segways down the street, ready for their next adventure, proving that while they may be immature, reckless, and chaotic, they are undeniably effective as a team. They fist bump, having successfully navigated the treacherous waters of high school a second time, not by changing who they were, but by accepting who they are together.